Hey, everybody. Matt Michaels here on the DeFalco Files with the owner and creator of FSW, Future Stars of Wrestling here in Las Vegas, Mr. Joe DeFalco. Joe, how you doing this wonderful weekend? We're recording on a Sunday today during the Bears-Saints game. So
Yeah, I'm watching the game at this time. I've been sitting home for a couple days feeling a little under the weather. I don't think I got COVID, but it's like, not feeling too good. I'm coughing a lot and got a headache. But other than that, I'm pretty much fine. But it's like, let me just chill for a couple days and see what's up.
Yeah, and then worst comes to worst, you go just get one of those quick little swabs in your nose and you go into quarantine for 14 days. So let's hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, let's hope not.
And we're joined today by what should I say? The problem, Sefa Fatu? Are we still going by the problem, Sefa?
Yes, sir. You damn right we are. Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? What's going on? What's up, Matt? What up, Joe? Hey, first of all, Joe, before I start talking to you, you over there coughing and stuff, Joe. I got an extra mask for you, Oos. You know what I'm saying? Just in case you
I'm good. I heard you can't catch it through the computer, so you should be all right.
Well, you know, it's cool to talk to someone who has blood in the family. Obviously, with Rikishi being your dad, the Usos being your brothers, the lineage of the family history. My first question for you is: was there any point in your life, having been around wrestling the whole time, unlike other guys who see wrestling and then decide they want to go into it, was there any time that you said, you know, maybe I don't want to wrestle? What other aspirations did you have, or was it always wrestling?
Man, I wanted to play football, man. You know, hey, wrestling was the last thing on my mind. Everybody, obviously everybody in my damn family is in the wrestling industry, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, man, let me try to go this other route and go play ball, you know. And I don't want to wrestling would always be there. So I try to go pursue, ball in college and, try to go to the big times. But, obviously that didn't happen. So I started to shift my mind. Mindset, in my body, man, to go the other route and follow the family footsteps and join the family business. So, man, here I am doing the thing.
Did you then get trained at Knox? Was Knox primarily your training ground, or?
Yeah. So when I after I finished playing ball, I moved down to LA. Trained there, man. I got started in with my dad. And my dad broke me in, man, and then and I moved out here to Las Vegas. That's when I met Joe DeFalco.
What was that? Go ahead, Joe.
I was gonna say, the first time was I actually got a phone call from his father, and Rikishi called me up and he said, "Hey, bro," because we had talked in the past different things, common ground, Sin Bodhi, wrestling. He was good friends with the Godfather, who I worked with for years. They were part of the crew in WWF back in the day. And he said, "Hey, can you do me a favor? My boy's moving out there. Make sure you take care of him. We'll see what we got." And we knew he was pretty inexperienced. And it was crazy because we saw, right off the bat, how much further along he was than the normal person at that level. And we ended up getting him on matches pretty early. And I believe his first match was against Spider Warrior, if that is.
Yep. Sure was.
What was that like for you, Safa, moving to Vegas and then getting an opportunity to go to an organization in which you had a reputable company in FSW, someone that your dad kind of knew a little bit, and Joe DeFalco. Did it give you a little bit of kind of a safety blanket, almost a comfort, knowing that you're coming to a city that you want to be in, and that you actually will get a chance to kind of hone your craft and mature a little bit in the business, but still being able to live in a city that you like.
Yeah. Well, first of all, coming to FSW, not only is it just a regular organization, but it's a big organization that everybody,
Yeah.
Man, you hear, man, that everybody tries to get on. So I was like, man, what more company, to start making my name and making my noise in, man, than the big company here in Las Vegas that everybody knows. And then not only that, man, you got a big time players there, I mean, you see the roster, man, Kenny King, fucking Killer Cross, man, everybody, man, Chris Bay. We ain't got to say the names. Everybody here in Vegas knows when they talk about Las Vegas, man, these are the players that you talk about, and Falco, man, he's the main guy that gets brought up when you hear Las Vegas. So I was like, okay, let me see if I can go here and test the waters, man. Let me see if I'm built and made to do this, and Joe did give me that platform, man, to showcase my skills. And like, I was a little green, and I was just starting, but in my mind, I'm like, man, this is a test for me, man. This is a test to put my skills, to show everybody what I can do. And it amazed me, man. I was like, man, I'm like, it's a natural thing, man. I just need to be in there. So, I'm thankful for the opportunity for Joe to just throw me in there, with the guys like Hammerstone and Graves and Shogun and Chris Bay, like. And I was able to, to like hang with everybody that I was ever put in front of me. So, yeah, man, everything. I think moving here to Las Vegas, man, was the best thing that happened to me. Because if I was to start out, a Big Valley, I'm not saying, I'm not knocking it, but like, start any other company, like I don't think I would have gotten the recognition and exposure that I did now from FSW, man. So, yeah.
What was your first impressions of him, Joe, in terms of meeting him? And what were you looking at in terms of how you would progress him in terms of booking? Was it, an idea of, hey, let's push him, because he has the talent? Or was it, let's make sure that he's getting the right direction and not just throwing him out because he's got a Fatu on his, on his name.
Yeah,
I know the beginning. He wanted to build me like kind of like a monster, like Umaga and stuff like that. I was like, damn, man, I'm not built like that. So, but I was like, man, okay, he throwing me in here, man. I just gotta tear it up. You know what I'm saying? And like being new at the time, man, I was okay. Like I'm gonna see what he does. And like, he was just throwing them at me. And like, I was just like, I gotta like deliver every time, man. And like, I gotta do something new. So, I was, he was doing this thing with me, man. I think the most part I was looking for, like when I first met him was just somebody's presence, like when you meet somebody, man, you go off that person's presence, how they talk and, how they are with you. So, man, I ain't never had a problem with Joe. Joe always been cool.
Yeah, I was when I first met him, I was impressed because talking to him, there's a good possibility. Hey, Rikishi's his dad, his brother's in WWE. He can come in with this entitled attitude that some people would come in with, and he came in as a humble guy. He came in and trained a lot, not like these days, but I understand. He's a busy man. But the thing was, when he was trying to really apply his craft, he was there a lot. He was improving. And the name doesn't mean anything if you can't go out there and deliver.
Yep.
We've seen a lot of, wrestlers, kids, the David Flairs of the world who people mocked because he just had really very little ability, but everybody knew he got there because of his father. And Sefa, the idea was to bring him along slowly, get him matches, see where the crowd was starting to react and things like that. And I remember we did something in maybe the first Rumble he did. where he ended up eliminating the entire lights camera faction, which kind of led to, you know, him single-handedly taking them all out. And at that point, being that those guys were heels, Sefa was kind of supposed to be a heel. And he technically was, but he was getting a good response from the crowd. You know, when he would go up for the frog splash for the finisher, when he would do the Umaga spot running across the turnbuckle and doing that, the people would pop for it. And, you know, it was interesting because the culmination of that was when, once again, his father had called me and we were going to have a Nevada State Championship match. Everything had been built and we were setting it up, and it was Graves versus Sefa, and his dad wanted to come down, you know, for the show. So, you know, that show was one of the best written shows I think that we had had. You know, we ended up really pulling off the turn with Sefa. Graves gave him the, you know, the accolades, the respect, which we used to later on when he turned on Sefa. You know, we did some tag matches. So he immediately, once we knew where he was at, you know, it was a lot easier to put together some stories and really make him an integral part. And at that time, you know, I remember in the Rumble match where it was him, Shogun, and Bay, I think, is the final three. And, you know, the crowd loved it. It was, you know, the three young guys that we could see down the line. Obviously, Chris Bay had more accolades than anybody at the time, but he was still on that fast track rise. And I would say that was probably, you know, the show that really got Sefa on the map, because now he was intertwining with the biggest guys in FSW, and people saw that he was definitely going to be a top player.
You know,
So
hey,
what
Joe,
was,
I don't mean to cut you off, man, but Joe, just to go off what you said, man, just what Joe said, man, like, you know, like a lot of the younger generations, man, like, you know, the kids that are wrestling, man, you know, like they do go off their name. And Joe, just to go what you said, I was right there when my dad called you. I was like, hey, don't tell him that you sent it your boy. Just tell him that you sent it in the studio. Because I didn't want, you know, not only Joe, but like, you know, the other workers that were there to be like, oh, you know, his dad this, his brothers is that. Like, I didn't want nobody to know who the hell I was. But obviously when I got there, you couldn't, you must be like, so like they already knew off the top. But I just wanted to go in and prove and show everybody, man, that I don't need my dad and I don't need my brothers. I don't need this name, like, to go in and show you that I can work. Like I can do this on my own, you know? So like, you know, I made the name, I made the noise out here by myself. I didn't need nobody, you know what I mean? So you know, like, that's why I want to, you know, I think that's what everybody gets mixed up, man. A lot of the, you know, the Brian Pillmans and you know, I'm not knocking them, but like, you know, the Hulk Hogan's and you know, like, then you just come in here and just do it, man, because who your name is. But like, man, it's a whole different ball game, man.
well, that's kind of what I was going to ask you in terms of the talent that you've worked with through the years now, and whether it be Vegas or, you know, another location. How receptive have the locker room guys been to you? And is it a matter of once you've gone into the ring and you've done your business, that the respect is earned through what you're doing? You know, where some of the guys might see it as cynical and look at you just as just wrestling off his name.
Most def. I remember my friend. Here's another one. At my first match after Spider Warrior, you know, when I first walked in the locker room in the back, obviously everybody knew I was coming. Everybody knew I was there. They knew who I was and knew where I'm coming from. So I'm like, you know, just the little respect. Hey, man, you know how you doing? Hey, how you doing? You know, shaking everybody's hand. I remember not shaking some of them didn't want to shake my hand. So I'm okay, cool. I'm gonna remember these guys. But I was like, all right, cool. They ain't never seen me. After that match, everybody came up to me. Everybody came up to me. And man, like, I get it. You know what I'm saying? I gotta put my time in. It's gonna come around. Some of the main guys, they dust me. Oh, he Kishi boy. He a Fatu. And then they start coming around one by one. And I'll be cracking jokes. Hey, remember that one time you didn't shake my hand in the back? Now look, you texting me now. Now you want to hang out? You want to work out with me now, huh? So yeah, man, I get it. It's always like that. So it don't bother me, man. I just go in there and do what I do, man.
Joe, what was your thoughts behind elevating him to work with guys like, Graves and Hammerstone, Bay? Was it something that you saw a clear path of what you wanted to do with the character, or was it something that you were just kind of letting grow organically?
Well, you got to remember when he ended up wrestling Graves for the Nevada State Championship, he had been wrestling on shows for a while with us. I couldn't tell you exactly how long, but I would have to think it was at least 5-6 months from when he started there. He went through different storylines, different angles. And when we decided that, hey, this is going to be one of the main matches with Rikishi coming in, and, Sefa was with Sally at the time. And Sally obviously is the hated guy. But despite being there with Sally, there was a large portion of the crowd that was behind Sefa. So, what better way to make that turn complete? Being Rikishi's kid had nothing to do with where he was at, but having Rikishi there to basically culminate that babyface turn. Rikishi, after the match, gives the stink face to Sally, which, the crowd goes crazy over the whole moment. And that's, again, when we talk about, oh, what was your best match? What was that? It's always the moment that is the best thing you're going to have. Now, everybody's going to remember the day Rikishi gave the stink face to Sally, and that was the day Sefa won the title, but he didn't win because of his father. They had a great match. After the match, I was wondering what was going on, because after the match, like, Graves was hanging around ringside still. And I knew we were setting up for, Rikishi and Sefa. And Graves took it upon himself after the match, because he was one of our most over baby faces, to say, hey, good match. I respect you. There was a handshake. And that whole combination really solidified the fact that Sefa is now one of the top baby faces in FSW. And then the minute Graves shook his hand, we knew we were going to be in the process that was going to take a few months, to where Graves was going to eventually turn on Sefa, which kept stories going for months,
Yeah. Sefa, when you think of working with someone like Graves, who is just going to speak his mind, and he doesn't hold anything back, how was it for you in terms of feeling him out in that situation, and kind of knowing what buttons to push and what buttons not to push with him?
Well, being thrown in there, with a tough guy like that, especially a guy that's obviously been wrestling before me, and has a background of actually, fucking fighting and shit like that. Man, it didn't. I learned from him a lot. You know what I'm saying? I just know, like, okay, I just got to go in there and just do what I do. But yeah, filling them out wise, man, he was a cool person. He was with me, man. He was patient with me. I remember the first time, going up to him, what I'm saying? Like, hey, man, like, like, whatever you want to do, man, let's do it. He said, okay, cool. And then, like, he didn't talk to me the rest of the day. Yeah, this is the day of the show. He didn't talk to me the rest of the day. And I was sitting back there getting dressed, right? And I was like, damn, man, he must be ripping me right now. Like, we about to go on in two more matches, man. I still didn't talk to him, right? So I'm like, damn. And like the boys are coming, man, you good? Like you look nervous. I said, bro, I didn't call shit with him. Like, we about to go on next. So Greg, come on, Greg's come up to me, hey man, this gonna be the finish. So I was like, all right, cool. Like, all right, he's like, man, let's just go out there, let's just work. And then man, he took care of me, man. We took care of each other, man. We had a good ass match, I wish there was a couple little like spots in there that we missed from the referee, because he wasn't on point. But man, other than that, man, it was one of my favorite matches, man, working with Grace. So yeah, it was cool.
You bring up a good point too, in terms of when you're looking to kind of develop a little bit more, you're looking at everything that's been going on in terms of match per match and growth. Do you ever sit down and look at your matches and kind of evaluate, like you said, if a spot's missed or this didn't look right, or how do you actually learn from your matches?
Well, I actually just watched the me and Graves one not too long ago. I was like, damn, man, we could have, like, it was good, but it could have been better. Like, oh man, I should have done this right here. I should have slowed down a little bit. I should have turned it up. I should have, I was like, damn, man, then I'll do it next time. And then that next time happens, then we do it. Then it's a little, I miss a little bit of something. So, oh man, all right. Or after I do this, I'm going to do this. So, I won't have. But man, every match, man, it's a learning experience, man. From no matter how long, if you've been wrestling for like 15, 10, 5 years, man, every match, you're going to learn something new. And that night, man, like I said, him being one of the most experienced guys, like I've learned a lot. I learned a lot that match, man. And I think after that match with Graves, man, I went up from there on out.
Joe, what was your reception to how the fans gravitated towards Sefa? Did you see that coming, or were you expecting him to get that heel heat and kind of keep that and not become a babyface?
Well, initially I expected it. He was with Sally, and we were doing the matches. He's wrestling baby faces, so you're totally expecting the crowd to boo the guy. You know what I mean? But again, not only is he a pretty big dude, he's very agile and athletic, so he moves around very, very well. So it's always easier to root for somebody who does cool things. And, Sefa, his style is a lot different than a lot of our other guys. You know what I mean? So it's easy to gravitate toward that. But you're also trying to, keep your story version going until you're ready to do what we needed to do. And we wanted it to be on the big stage. Could we have done it at a school show a month ago? Sure. But doing it in the way that we did it made it a whole bigger moment, that now moving forward, there was a lot of other options, that we had. We did an elimination match where it was supposed to be Hammerstone, Graves, and Gallo, but Hammerstone was in Japan for MLW, and we had to bring in Dom to cover. And Dom, who's tremendously talented, but people don't really know him here. So it kind of, the excitement of the match, because Hammerstone's been our top guy for a couple of years. So being in that elimination match and being replaced by Dom, kind of took that match down, a notch, you know what I mean? And, it ended up being a clean sweep, but it was getting their revenge back from when Graves had turned on Sefa. And that's how he lost the Nevada State to Hammerstone, which was a huge night because Graves had just won the money, the cash in the case. Right. And then he ended up helping Hammerstone win the Nevada State. And then they cashed in and got the tag belts because of the cash in the case. So that was a tremendous storyline that so much happened on that show that revolved around Hammerstone Graves, which then also involved Shogun, which led to Shogun trying to get his revenge when Shogun won the Rumble and was supposed to get the title match against Chris Bay. And because they laid him out, that was when Graves was able to take advantage of the opportunity. So it's like, you know, this was 6 months earlier at a Sam's Town show, into the next Sam's Town show, into the next Sam's Town show, with all the other shows around, that we were able to keep Sefa, Shogun, Bay, Hammerstone, Graves, all kind of intertwined for 6 months, where in WWE, that 6 months would be extremely boring and nobody would have cared about the feud. And I think we were able to keep it and make it very important that the wins really did mean something at the end of the story, because we did have an end of the story. While in WWE, there's never an end to the story.
Yeah. Speaking of WWE, how is it for you, Joe, and then you, Sefa, as well, when you have, someone like Sefa having brothers in the WWE? How difficult is it to separate the character so that it's not, so that fans are not just assuming that he's just doing the Uso thing? Does that make any sense to you?
Joe,
Yeah,
go
but
ahead.
he was always his own guy, you know. Other than being Rikishi's kid, nobody looked at him like, oh, he's like the Usos. He's like his brothers. There really wasn't a lot of early comparison about the Usos and Sefa. It was more that he was Rikishi's kid. And Rikishi got his fame, even though he was famous earlier when he wasn't the guy who was doing the dances with, Too Cool.
Right.
You know, Sefa was a different type. He's, I might be mistaken, but he seems to be a little bigger than the Usos. Are you taller than him?
Yeah,
Huh?
I'm bigger than that. You right. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
that's
you right.
what I'm
Go ahead.
saying. And so I don't tell him how to wrestle, how to moves to do. He's presented his own arsenal that has gotten over with the fan base. Nobody that I can think of looks at it like, oh, it's Usos 2.0. They look at Sefa as his own being. It's like he's a guy, I remember talking to Sanjay Dutt, who's now an agent in WWE. At the time, he was one of the main guys at Impact. And they were coming to town, and I was trying to pitch for them to get Sefa on the show. And at the time, they were negotiating with his cousin Jacob. And things didn't really work out with them. And, I showed him, the way he does his Samoan drop. And, Sanjay was extremely impressed with it. And, as we talk about our FSW champions and the guys that we brought through the system, the first person I'll mention when somebody says, hey, FSW, Cross, Chris Bay, Lacey Ryan, Hammerstone, Cage, Eli Drake, who's that next guy that can break out and become, a national superstar? And yeah, he does have a little bit of that advantage, obviously, because of his family, but he isn't getting there just because of his family. He's getting there because he deserves to get there. And the first person that comes out of my mouth all the time is Sefa. Like, sky's the limit. Like, I see Cody Rhodes talked about him on 2 different occasions. It's like they bring in shit tons of guys to AEW Dark. Where's Sefa? You talk about the guy, oh, maybe I need to come scout him. Well, you got a free ticket anytime you come to FSW to see Sefa. Hey, how about you call him up and get him a plane ticket and have him show up in Jacksonville and whoop some ass? I don't know.
Joe, you get me turned up over here, Joe. You about to make me call his ass right now.
You should. You know, he's
Stop
all
playing with me, man. Tell him stop playing with me.
Well, you know, but
Now, just to say what Joe said, man. Like, man, Matt, he answered my question, man. Like, you know, he just like for everybody that's seen me work, like they know I move different. I'm built different than them. I am bigger than them. I'm much bigger than and taller than both of them. So like, you know, I move at I would say I wrestle like a more like of a bigger man, you know what I mean, than them. Like they're high flyers. You know, from somebody that never seen me work, oh man, here go number, here go Uso. But when they come, you know, after they see me work, oh man, hey man, that was like, man, I know. I just gotta show people that I'm not like them. Like, of course we look alike, man, we're brothers. But like I got a different type of swag than them. If that's how I want to put it. So yeah, man, he answered what I was just gonna say.
You know, if I'm writing WWE television, this whole tribal chief thing with Roman Reigns is awesome. You know, they finally have gotten him to the point where he is the guy people want to see. And they made, you know, Uso extremely important in the mix. You know, when WrestleMania comes to fruition, you know, maybe there should be a tribal war that maybe Sefa gets involved in. You know what I mean?
Hey, you know what? See, I don't even know how to answer this question because I don't want to give out like any teasers right now. But let's just say that whole tribal chief thing, they got that locked down in WWE. I'm gonna put it like that. There ain't no need for me to go there.
Who so far, Sefa, has been like, I would say maybe these are two different answers, but who's been your favorite person to work with, and who has been the most important person influencing you, helping you in terms of guiding your career?
Well, the most important person working with, I mean, obviously, I would think Hammerstone. You know, like, cause he's been that guy in that company for many years, man. And you know, again, with me starting and throwing that at somebody that got a big name, like, you know, it's kind of like you look at him like, okay, like, you know, like an Undertaker or type, like, you know what I'm saying, like stuff like that, because he's been in there for long. So like, okay, like I know he's gonna take care of me in there. I just need to do my thing, you know, just like what I did with Graves, you know, like he gonna take care of me, man. You know, I'm gonna let him, like, you know, guide me and like, you know, just. So I think, you know, and like he's helped me a lot, man, over the time. Like not only at FSW, you know, but obviously I wrestled with him at you know, in Arizona. You know, I'll see him at other shows. So like, you know, it's cool. Like, you know, he's one of those guys, man, that always gives advices, not to you know, only me, but like to everybody else, man. So like, you know, like in all my matches with him, he's helped me grow as a, not only as a worker, but like as a person on what I should be doing in the ring. Like, okay, like he does those cool things. He said, yeah, brother, like, you know, it's cool to switch up things, you know, when you're in the ring and stuff like this, or do things like that, or don't do it. So yeah, man, I think Hammerstone's one of those guys.
Joe, do you how you know, when you think about booking shows, and you know that Sefa, you know, gets opportunities and is a very busy person, what does it come down to for you in terms of trying to have him on the shows and having to maybe rethink angles, or, you know, try different avenues so that he can get on shows when he's available and keeps that relevance for you?
Well, you know, me and him have had this discussion numerous times. You know, in the perfect world, he's going to make as many shows as he can for me. Because as I've told him, you know, to be a focal point, you need to be the focal point. You need to be around. And unfortunately, he has, you know, other things he's got to take care of. And one thing everybody knows about Joe, everybody likes Joe. Joe treats everybody really well, but Joe is definitely not the guy who's going to be paying the most amount of money for guys on a show. Okay. I'd rather have 15 really good guys on my show instead of paying more money to 4 of them and having 16 other guys that aren't very good on the show. FSW over the years has built itself because of the fact that you can go to the FSW arena as a fan for 15, 20 bucks, and you're going to see Chris Bay, Kevin Cross, Hammerstone, Graves, Sefa, Kenny King, maybe, The Unguided, you know, Remy Marcel, Ice Williams, Shogun. You know, there's so many talented guys. Plus, I'm always trying to bring in guys, you know. I tried very often to bring in as much as I could. Ryan Taylor, guess what? Now he's in NXT, and here's a guy who's been fighting and clawing for 16 years and has finally gotten the big break. You know, the one thing that I consider myself the best at is having a great eye for talent. And having that, having Sefa around only increases our roster. You know, I remember the day before, a couple days before the Mecca, Sefa and a bunch of guys were signing at the Toy Con. And I was there. And we had a nice chat and stuff. And then things came up where Brian Pillman wasn't going to be able to make it. And I'm like, hey, bro, really like to get you on the show. And, you know, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? Yeah, well, you know, we worked everything out. And I said, I need you to work Willie Mack. And to this day, as great a show as the Mecca was, you know, that's right there as one of the matches of the night. You know, him and Willie killed it. You know, it was an awesome match. And, you know, everybody's going to tell you Willie Mack is one of the best talents around.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's another guy local that we use as often as possible. You know, we're as good as Ring of Honor to me. When I look at our stuff, I think we tell better stories, and I think our talent is just as good. We just don't have that money that's backing us to really get us out there to the world. And I think if we did, we could be a major player.
Man, man, Joe, I believe it too. We got some guys that can go, man. I feel like if we was to get matched up against any company, man, it'll be us, man.
Yeah. That's a very, you know, the thing about what makes it special for all that talent is that you have so much variety to choose from when you're a fan and you're at one of these events. You know, you've got something for everyone, and I think that's important. And also what I love about the way you work, Sefa, is that you take that the advantage of using the fact that you are a bigger guy, but boy, can you move. And it really, I think, kind of throws a fan's, you know, because fans are watching from that perspective, not of the work rate, but more so the enjoyment. Yeah, like the oh shit, like whoa, I just saw something. You know, so it's very cool that your work rate is showing now to a point where, boy, everything just looks so brutal, but yet so smooth, man. And that takes a lot of, you know, work to get to. What for you when you're in the ring? What for you is the driving factor? Is it feeling out the crowd? Are you comfortable with calling matches on the fly? What is your, you know, favorite part about going in strategically into a match?
Man, just as soon as your music hits, man, I feel like how to grab the crowd's attention, man, is when your music hits and like when you walk out. That's when it starts, man, because people can feel your presence, man, and your energy when your music hits and when you walk out. It's just the way you gotta walk out, how you look. You know what I'm saying? How you get in the ring, how you stand there when your opponent comes out. I feel like that's how I grab them. Because, for example, man, you know, the Willie Mack, me and his match, you know, when it was supposed to be Brian Pillman, but now, this Sefa's music. And then not even the match started, like they're chanting, they're chanting his name, they're chanting my name. And then another one was Hammerstone, me and Hammerstone. All we did was go face to face for like 2-3 minutes, man. And then I was like, okay, we got him now, Oos. We got him. You ready? Let's go. Like, I feel like just a couple of those seconds, man, you know, you can grab the crowd's attention.
You know, and no offense to other promotions, but that happens a lot in FSW.
Yep.
That's not going to happen in a lot of these other companies because they're not bringing in that talent. You know, we're in the process of talking with some other major companies on the West Coast, you know, hoping to do something where it is an interpromotional kind of thing. Just trying, you know, because the key is getting more awareness. You know, Impact and AEW did it. And, you know, I think it benefits Impact a lot with Kenny Omega. And now you got the Good Brothers going over, you know, to AEW. And the bottom line is WWE is a juggernaut. No matter what we think about it, the storylines suck, nothing ever ends. They will always have that casual fan, the kids. WWE is the top of the mountain. But for other people to get close, working together and having the best matches and having the best shows and the best stories you can do, having New Japan and AEW work together can only benefit an already good show. You know, if a show is great, why can't it be phenomenal? You know, and, you know, looking at our roster, it's crazy sometimes because we're trying to do some of these smaller invite-only shows and maybe empty arenas. And it's like we put together these 7 or 8 matches like we did a few weeks back. And, you know, the Bonus Boys, R&B, they weren't on the show. Death Proof wasn't on the show. Sefa wasn't on the show. There was so much talent. Shogun wasn't on the show. Hero Lou wasn't on the show. And now we're looking to do another one, you know, next week. And it's like, okay, well, since Ice Williams was on the last show, he probably won't be on this one. And Funny Bone won't be on this one. But now all of a sudden we all have Hammerstone. We got Graves. We have the R&B. We might have Sefa. You know, there's so much talent that's going to be there that we almost need 2 shows.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you're also trying to get some of these younger guys like a Hero Lou that he's kind of like what Shogun was a couple of years ago. He was that guy that, hey, we think down the line he could be something special for us. And Hero's, you know, impressive. The crowd's behind him. You know, what a Samoan Dynasty tag team it would be, Hero Lou.
Oh, no, here you go again,
brother.
Joe. Here you go again. Joe, it ain't going to happen, Joe. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, Joe.
Well, you know, that brings up a good point, though, Sefa. How is it for you having someone like Hero Lou around? Are you able to mentor now, you know, some of these guys, kind of almost paying back for the people who, you know, were a few years more experienced than you when you started? Have you been able to help guys like Hero and like Shogun in terms of getting them more, you know, advice, cultured, seasoned, whatever you want to put it? Have you started to become a mentor?
Yeah, man. I think Hero Lou, I think out of everybody, because first of all, we both Samoan. And like everybody knows Samoans don't sell headbutts. And then like I seen him take a headbutt from somebody and like he took up. And I was like, oh no, man, nah, you can't do that, man. You making us look weak, man. But you know, we work out every day. You know, me, him, Shogun, and some of the other boys, man. And we always talk, man. I'm always telling them, I was like, man, you know, like, you got it in you. You know, you look good, man. You got the body built. You can work. But if something's missing, man, something's missing. Like, you just got to, I don't know what it is, man. You got to find it. You got to turn it up a little bit, too. Can't keep doing the same thing in there, man, when they see you. You know, so, yeah, man, he's been the person I talk to the most. Shogun as well, you know what I'm saying? You know, hey, man, you should do this a little bit more. It looks better when you do stuff like this. So, yeah, man, we always talk to each other. But mainly, yeah, Hero Lou, man, yeah, him.
And Joe, how important is that for you to have, you know, guys like Sefa and Hammerstone around to essentially just keep building this long line of people that are so damn it, that should get these opportunities on shows, you know, to have so many people to choose from. Is it helping that these guys who eventually, like Chris Bay, go on, are able to watch and mentor and show guys, hey, if you do this or this can take you to that next realm?
Well, the key is the outside talent. And that's why, you know, a guy like Hammerstone, a guy like Graves, we consider locals. They're here all the time. Jacob Austin Young with Cody and Death Proof. But like a Chris Bay, we're bringing him along. I'm like, hey, I got this guy for you to wrestle. He hasn't wrestled in a while. Brandon Gatson. They had an excellent match, you know. And the key is getting people to work people that are better than them, or guys that are more experienced than them, that they can kind of help them out. You know, I know Chris Masters was a big help when he wrestled Kevin Cross. You know, I know Kenny King was a big help. I know Matt Hardy was a big help. You know, all these guys have had these opportunities. You know, like I said, with Hammerstone, I knew he was ready when I had him work Sami Callihan on a big stage. And they had one of the best matches on the show. And then he proceeded to wrestle Sami again, and he got to wrestle Moose, and he got to wrestle numerous people, where now his experience, and then with MLW and going to Japan, now when somebody like a Hero Lou gets to wrestle a Hammerstone, you know, that, and a Shogun, they're getting to work a guy who started off like them. You know, we're not happy being a good indie company. Oh man, they're a good indie company. You know, they got some good talent. No, we're a great independent wrestling company that brings in some of the best talent in the world. You know, go look at the Impact locker room. You know, half those guys have worked numerous shows for us, not one show. Anybody can work one show somewhere, but we've had guys that have worked over and over. And it's that type of crew that's come in to give these guys to see. Because again, can Chris Bay wrestle? Absolutely. If Chris Bay was working in a bunk-a-dunk kind of wrestling promotion in Montana, would he have been noticed? Would he have been able to wrestle people that people would have been put on the map to where people now say, oh shit, just so you know, I wrestled this kid, Chris Bay, in Vegas, and he's really, really talented. Maybe you should look at him. Maybe it puts more eyes on him. And getting to work better people, you know, I know for a fact when Chris Bay was getting seen a little bit on Impact, that John Morrison and Brian Cage went to management to try to get Chris signed because they really, really liked him a lot. They thought he was extremely talented. And then when we had that three-way match for the Mecca Grand Championship, Chris Bay shined more than Morrison or Cage because they chose to make Chris Bay look like the star of the match. And, you know, it's all competition. And I know everybody wants to be better than everybody, but despite that competition, the top guys, the cream that rise to the top, they become very close with other guys who are like-minded that aren't just happy being the FSW heavyweight champion. They want to be the MLW, the Impact, the Ring of Honor, the WWE champion. And I love FSW, and I think being the FSW champion is great, but it also is different than watching Kevin Cross win the NXT championship 3 matches in. Kind of justifies like, wow, you know, we were right. Hey, we were right about Hammerstone. He went to Japan and he shined. And the people that I've given the ball to have all taken it, and they have run for numerous touchdowns.
Sefa, you just gave a little cameo of the little guy here. How's it been for you being a dad, man?
Man, it's a blessing, man. You know, it's just being a dad, man. You know, it sucks because, you know, just like what Joe said, I couldn't. One of the reasons why I couldn't make the shows, man, is because I would have to watch my son, man. So, but I'm open next week all the way until whenever Joe need me, because, man, it's time to come back, man. It's time to start.
Get it done. I'm ready. I'll make some moves.
Yes, sir.
Well, I mean, worst comes to worst, you can just do the old wrestling trick of bringing the kid to the show, and he could just, you know, you could bring him down and hand him to one of the loyal fans to hold him and watch him and wrestle.
I would, but I don't know where the fans' hands been at. You know what I'm saying? So I might have to stop what I'm doing and go give the lady or a guy clothesline for touching my son. I don't know. No, it's cool. I thought about it, man. I thought about those times, man. But I was like, man, I don't want my son to like start crying if he see me getting heat taken on me. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? But I don't know. Maybe, hopefully soon, man. Once all this clears up, man, I'll bring him around.
Joe, does he have an open spot in the kids class when he's able to walk and start rolling around?
Of course. You know, as long as he's ready, you know, he could beat Bodie's record of being 13 years old and getting his first match. Maybe a little Sefa Jr. and Bodie could be in the near future.
Hey, you ready? Son, you ready for that, son? Wherever he at. I don't even know where he at.
You know, as we kind of look at time here and get a little closer to wrapping up, Sefa, is there any moments or stories that stick out about Joe? Did you guys, you know, have anything that really comes to the front of your mind about any funny Joe stories or any working relationship stories, anything like that, man?
Man, I think one of the times before me winning the Nevada State title, like every time I came to training, he's like, "Hey, Nevada State title, Nevada State title." He just kept saying it. I was like, "Man, Joe, you mess with me, man. You mess with me." And he just kept saying it, and he said it that day, and I was like, "Damn, he for real." But I don't know. I thought that was always funny to me. Like literally every time I came to training, when it built up, he just kept saying Nevada State title, Nevada State title. Shit. All right, know what that means.
Hey.
Yeah. Sorry about the little noise in the background. That's my boy. Man. Okay, keep going.
Yeah, The Rock better watch out, man, because I mean, for as young as he is, look at how he just dominates the camera naturally like that.
Him?
Yeah, man. He's gonna take the Rock's mantle as the action superhero of his generation.
He need to take what he need to do is when the Rock's, you know, because I know he got daughters too. When he get older, you need to go, you know what I'm saying? Lock that in, son. We'll grab you a check.
Nah. Joe, what for you stands out as either your favorite match or favorite story or anything regarding Sefa? Do you have anything that sticks out to you?
No, we've had numerous conversations, and I know there's people like, oh, you know, what about Sefa? He's not around, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, we get along great, you know. And the thing is, people want to see him around. So automatically, when you don't see somebody around, oh yeah, Joe must have an issue with them. Sefa must have an issue with Joe. And it's never been that way. You know, it's never been like, hey, I'm starting to do better and getting a little more well known. I don't really want to work for you, or yeah, I'll let you know. It just has never worked out. Like when we did need him and he was available, like I said, him and Willie Mack, they tore it up, you know. And moving forward, you know, when we had that conversation in March, the idea was moving forward, he was going to become an integral part of everything once again. And then everything closed down. And then when he came back, it's like, you know, everything's up in the air. Not everybody's comfortable being around all the time. And, you know, this has really been a wasted year. You know, everything we've done has been at a small stage. And, you know, we're really hoping that we can get stuff going. So, you know, trying to do an exclusive event, trying to put together some maybe, you know, empty arena stuff and things like that. You know, we're hoping that this year we could do more stuff. It's pretty disappointing because the No Escape anniversary is coming up in a couple of weeks. You know, that's something we would do every January. Against All Odds, my favorite match, the Rumble, you know, where stars were made. You know, Sefa was made there. You know, him, Shogun, Chris Bay, you know, it was great moments in those matches. And we weren't able to do that show that we usually did toward the end of the year. And it's like, you know, we really want to get back to that. And we're hoping we can, you know, relatively soon.
And with that, we obviously lost Sefa there. So we'll see if he bops back here in a couple seconds. When you think about what you guys are doing now, this is a good time to talk about the network launching. How's it been going? Have people been subscribing, and where can people go to subscribe?
I guess it's fswnetwork.com. You know, we got a good amount of people who've actually signed up. I was extremely surprised that it was like, wow, we got this many subscribers, you know, and, you know, some of the wrestlers are subscribed, and, you know, some of our great fans, the local ones who come to the shows and the non-local ones, like our buddy Brad Reeder. I saw that he signed right up for the year, you know, and we're trying to make sure we want to provide as much content, you know. I found my mini DV camera and I found like 500, 600 tapes. Now, obviously, at least half of them probably we've already rendered, but the ones that weren't rendered, those are going to be stuff that when it does get rendered, never before seen stuff from 2009, 10, 11, 12, and 13 that I found. So that's 4 years of shows that, you know, there's probably a good amount of stuff on there that we probably have never seen unless you were there live. So, right. You know, after talking with Legacy last week and Rush, we're also looking at possibly getting, you know, their catalogs to be put on the network. So you can watch the old Funny Bone with hair from 1999, 2000. You know what I mean? So hopefully, you know, it's a one-stop shop, the FSW network. You know, we're working on, you know, weekly programming. You know, we got the Primo one and Mondo, and we're working on, I have ideas about roundtables and maybe podcasts and stuff to where every week there's always something. You know, we're $6.99, and I'm encouraging it not to be any more than that, because if you can spend $9.99 for the network, it's a lot harder to get people to spend $9.99 for our stuff. You know, right. we can do it at $6.99, and I believe, you know, I'm the boss, so I guess what I say goes. You know what I mean? but it's like we want to give opportunities, and whether that means a pay-per-view that you might have to buy on Fight TV, if you're already subscribed, you won't have to pay for it if you watch it on the network type of thing. Right. You know what I mean? So, we'll see. So far, so good. There's tons of shit on there to watch. It's like, holy crap. You can watch Sefa. You can watch Sefa and Willie Mack on there.
Yeah, that'll be first. That'll be first on there.
Sefa, as we wrap up here, let me ask you. You're a video game guy. I assume. Do you do the WWE games?
No, man. I really don't even play video. I don't even play wrestling games. Like, I don't know how. I just think that's a marketing. If you're a wrestler, man, and you play wrestling games, man, oh yeah, I don't know.
You mean you didn't create a wrestler? You didn't create a Sefa wrestler for WWE to team up with the Usos in a 6-man tag?
Because because fans, they already do that, man. They're just saying that, like, man, I don't want to. Like, why would I create myself? I don't know. More of a shooting type game, more of a Call of Duty type. That's the type of game.
Do you get a chance to do any gaming or any hobbies, being that you got work and you got wrestling and you got your son? Do you find any time for yourself?
That's a trick question. Man, when he's napping, that's like my time. That's like my freedom time to do whatever. It's just like 45 minutes. So yeah, man, I hop on a game when I can, man. I always try to. So, yeah.
And finally, Joe, with what you've seen in Sefa's work and how reliable he has been to come into shows and having good, strong, solid matches that fans enjoy, how long do you think it will take for one of the majors to finally knock on the door and say, hey, we're going to run with them?
To be honest, I think would be a guy who can get picked up at any day. And, I don't believe he's in a rush, but, you got to make sure you make the right decision. You can't just go to the first place that wants you, because, it's already proven that AEW has to have some interest, because Cody would not bring up his name. You know what I mean? I would have to believe the WWE is on the radar, being that his brothers work there and his father's a Hall of Famer there, and I talked with D'Lo Brown who's the talent relations guy on Impact, and he had nothing but great things to say about Sefa. So maybe he reaches out to D'Lo, you know what I mean? But I think there's interest from everywhere.
Yeah.
The guy, and the thing is, match-wise, he's got far less match experience than a lot of guys that he is equal to or better than. So there's still, he's not even near the ceiling, and that's the thing. There's so much more room to get better, and he's outstanding already. So it's like, how good could he be? I'll tell you one thing, he'd be a lot better if he comes and trains a little bit more. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, man, I'll be there next week, Joe.
Okay.
I will be there next week.
Well, on that note, Sefa, thank you for taking your time. Glad to have you, brother. I think that the coolest thing in knowing you is the fact that you've always been genuine. There's no bullshit there, and that's what I always appreciate. I appreciate that from you and your family as well. I mean, I do, man. I was very sad to hear of your grandfather's passing.
Appreciate
yeah, man. he was a cool dude. It was cool meeting him. And I
Oh, you
think
met
the
him at the
Scott,
Starcast. Yeah. I
yeah,
remember.
yeah,
Yeah, man. Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah. Yep. Starcast.
really, but yeah, just it was cool. It was cool to see him and meet him and talk to him a little bit, man. And you know, I think that it's cool to watch you grow, and it's exciting to see where you're going. But just you know, just keep doing what you're doing, brother, because I think that any fans who don't know you should look you up, follow your social media, you know, take a look at either the FSW network or look online to see some of your work, because there's some great shit out there, man. You've done some really good work, and I can't wait to see what the next chapter is going to be at FSW, let alone on the world stage. So, you know, keep it up, brother. You know, and thank you once again for joining us. Joe, thank you for taking your time this Sunday afternoon. Hope you can shake off this cold or
Yeah, whatever
whatever.
the hell it is.
And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching and listening. Remember to you know, follow FSW, subscribe to the network, $6.99. That's a great deal. And follow them on Twitch and on YouTube, as well as the Vegas Bad Boys of Podcasting. We appreciate everyone who tunes in every week. And until next time, everyone, take care.